Hey guys, it's that time of year for the best drugstore makeup of 2022, and instead of showing just my favorites this year, I thought it'd be fun to also include yours. So I had polled all of you over on my YouTube community tab and asked you to fill in your favorite drugstore launches of the year, and I got hundreds and hundreds of responses. So I am very excited to see what you all have to say. Let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. All right, guys, so before we get started, I just wanted to mention that all of the products in the survey were products that launched in 2022, not your general 2022 favorites. I actually have a video very similar to this that I did just a couple of months ago asking about your favorite drugstore makeup in general this year. So if you'd like to see that, I'm going to link it at the end of this video and you can check that one out as well. But I really just wanted to talk about new releases for this year in today's video. So let's start out with primer first, and your number one favorite primer this year was the e.l.f. Halo Glow Primer. And I would have to agree with you, that is also my number one pick. I just love this stuff. I use it every single day underneath whatever foundation I happen to be wearing. It just adds the perfect subtle glow. I have really dry skin, so it helps my skin to not look flat and matte, but it's also not a glittery, sparkly formula, which I really love about it. I think the Charlotte Tilbury one, which I feel like this is a dupe for, is a little bit more sparkly and shimmery. So I really enjoy the subtlety of the e.l.f. one even more. So I use this one constantly. Other honorable mentions that you guys talked about in the number 2 position was the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And that is a really great one too. That's a dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. And I own both of those primers and I do not see a difference at all. And then in your 3rd place spot was the Essence Hello Good Stuff Serum. So this one came out a couple months ago and it has a watermelon scent. A lot of people feel like it's a dupe for the Glow Recipe one. So a lot of you guys are really enjoying that one too. Moving on to foundation, your number one pick was the number 7 Restore and Renew Serum Foundation. And I would have to probably say this was my number one pick for 2022 as well. I love number 7's foundations in general. I would say probably the Lift and Illuminate is my number one favorite. This comes in a very close second. I think this one is just a little bit thinner and a little bit sheerer than that one, but it's great for every day because I like a very light coverage foundation, and then I just kind of go in with concealer and spot conceal the areas that I need to. But as I get older, I just feel like the less coverage, the better for me. So I love this one, especially on my dry skin. And I feel like it has a really skin-like finish and it doesn't look makeup-y and like you're wearing foundation. So it's very natural looking. And then in your number 2 spot was the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. This is one that I actually have not tried yet, but so many of you guys said it's amazing. So I still want to check that one out at some point. And then in the number 3 spot for you guys was the new L'Oreal Age Perfect Balm Foundation. I can't remember. I want to say I tried this earlier in the year. I remember trying it once or twice and then I just sort of moved on to other things. So I'll have to go back and try that one again because you guys really ranked it very high on your list. Then with concealer, this was not even a contest. Your number one favorite concealer this year was the NYX Bear With Me. I did purchase this one, but I have no idea where it went. I used it a couple of times and I wasn't crazy about it because it creased on me. I loved the actual texture of it and the fact that it made my under eyes look smooth and it didn't look heavy or make my under eyes look dry. I really loved the very skin-like finish that it has, but I noticed throughout the day it just kind of settling into these two little fine lines that I have on either sides of my eyes. And I never have that issue with concealer, very, very rarely, because my skin is dry. I feel like a lot of products don't crease on me, but that one completely did. So I just ended up giving up on that one. But if you guys have some tips on how to make it not crease, I would definitely love to hear it because I loved the texture. And then in the number 2 spot for you guys, you said the Maybelline Superstay Activewear. That one I actually haven't tried yet. I think because I'm just a little worried that it's going to be too drying. I felt like the Superstay foundation was a little too dry for me. So if it's not drying, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And then in the number 3 spot, you guys said the Revlon Colorstay Skin Awaken Foundation. And I would say this one is probably my number 1 because it has that same very skin-like finish that the NYX one has, but it just doesn't settle into my fine lines. So I really like the longevity of it a little bit more, but it still looks extremely natural under my eyes. So I think that's a really good one. Moving on to blush, your number 1 blush was the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush. And this was, again, not even a contest. It was your number 1 pick by far. I do really like those as well, but I have another favorite, which I'm going to get to in just a second. Your second favorite was the Profusion Blush Hour liquid blushes. And these are another formula that I really enjoyed as well. They're a really thin, weightless kind of serum-like formula. Once you blend them, they just sink right in, dry to a powdery finish, and they stay put all day. So I think that's a great formula. And then in your number 3 spot was the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It blush. That one I do have, but for some reason I felt like it didn't show up on me very well. I don't know why, if it was just the lighter color, but I felt like I had to really apply a lot just to get it to kind of show up on my cheeks. But I was actually a fan of 2 other Physicians Formula blushes that launched this year, the Matte Minoy blush, which was like this beautiful deep mauve shade, and also the strawberry blush. I loved that one too. I was disappointed that the strawberries wore off, but I just thought the color was so beautiful. But that aside, I would say my number 1 blush pick for this year are the NYX Wonder Stick double-ended blushes. When I first saw these, when they launched earlier in the year, I was like, not really drawn to them. I was kind of like, I passed by them in Ulta so many times. And then one day I just decided to try it. I think I must have seen a good review about them on YouTube or something. I can't remember, but I ended up next time I was at Ulta trying one, and it was this color. It was the light peach and baby pink one, which I'm wearing today on my cheeks. And I fell so in love with these. I ended up going back and buying the other colors, even though they're a little bit deeper and I have to go sparingly with those on my skin tone. I just love the whole idea of these because it's 2 shades of blush in this really convenient little stick. I took these on vacations with me. I love that you get 2 colors in one. You can layer them if you want to, and they're just so easy. You just kind of draw it onto your cheek, blend it out. And it's like you're blending a powder because they just dry down instantly and they're really pigmented. So you only need a tiny little bit. I should probably do my other cheek now just to even it out. But I just think these are so easy to use. They're just really quick. And like I said, they're also travel friendly. So these are amazing. If you haven't tried them out or you passed by them in the store, I highly recommend them. Moving on to bronzer. This one was kind of hard because there were a lot of good drugstore bronzers this year, but in your number 1 position was the L'Oreal Infallible bronzer. And I have to agree, it was kind of close, but I'm gonna go with this one as well. I feel like I use this one the most out of any of my other bronzers. It just has the most beautiful velvety texture and it blends so seamlessly on your skin. It really truly is like a high-end formula, and I know a lot of you guys have said that as well. It really is right up there with some of my other high-end bronzers like the Gucci one. I just think it's a beautiful finish and it's so long-lasting as well. Also, I think the colors that these come in are fantastic. They have great undertones and they look really natural. And then your number 2 pick, which would also be my number 2 pick, is the Revolution Ultra Cream Bronzer. This one, like I said, it was really tough to choose between this one and the L'Oreal, but I just felt like I used the L'Oreal one a little bit more. But the Revolution one is so beautiful. For a cream bronzer, it has a really weightless texture. It blends like a dream on your skin. It really doesn't disturb any of your foundation underneath. I use a dense buffing brush to just blend it in. It looks so natural. The shade Light that I have is a little bit more on the cool tone side. It's not so cool that it looks like a contour. It still has a little bit of warmth, but it's really just the perfect color for my skin tone. So that's another reason I love it. It's just really seamless, and I love the cream formula because because it doesn't look like powder sitting on top of your skin, especially on days when my skin feels a little more dry. I definitely reach for that one a lot. And then in your number 3 position, which again, I would say is also my number 3 pick, are the ColourPop Super Shock bronzers that released this year. I really enjoy those too. They come in gorgeous colors, and I feel like they're very similar in texture to the Makeup Revolution one, except I think the ColourPop are maybe just slightly more sheer. The Revolution one has a lot of pigment, so you have to kind of go a little more sparingly with that one, and the ColourPop I think are just very light and very natural looking. So those are another one that I definitely reached for a lot this year. So moving on to highlighter, your number 1 pick for highlighter this year was the Essence The Highlighter. These are in the same line as Essence's The Blush line, so I was really excited to see these come out. I did purchase one, and I do think it's a really beautiful highlighter, but I would say my number 1 pick is the one that was in the number 2 spot for you guys, and that's the Flower Beauty Spotlight Liquid Highlighters. These are kind of like a Charlotte Tilbury-esque product. It has the little puff applicator on the end, and you just kind of stamp it on. I was hoping that they would come out with a blush version, but all of them are just more highlighter colors. I'm hoping in the future that they'll do a blush one. I know Milani just released a blush version like this. It would be nice if Flower did the same thing, but anyway, I love these because they are a really subtle highlight. I'm wearing it today actually, and it doesn't really look like I'm wearing a blinding, see it from outer space kind of a highlight. It's really just a pretty lit from within glow, which is why I like these. If you like more of a bold highlight, you might want to go for something different. But if you don't like all of the sparkle and glitter on your cheeks, then I think you'll really like this one. And in the number 3 spot for you guys was the Milani Conceal and Perfect Liquid Highlighter, which is actually a very similar concept to the Flower Beauty one. I found the Milani one to be a little bit more glittery and shimmery, so that's why I prefer the Flower, but I actually do really like the Milani one too. I just saved that one for when I want a little bit more of a bold highlight. Next up in the brow category, you all rated the NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel as your number 1 pick. I did purchase that one this year, and I like it. The only issue that I have with it is that my brows grow downward, and it takes a lot of hold to get them to really stay up all day. Most brow gels will kind of give them some lift initially, and then by midday I'll look in the mirror and my brows are kind of drooping. So I like something with a little bit more hold, which brings me to your number 2 pick, which is my number 1, and that's the e.l.f. Brow Lift. So this is a brow gel that comes in a little pot, and it's basically an exact dupe for the Anastasia Brow Freeze. I have both of them. I use them interchangeably. I really don't notice the difference between that one and this one. And this will really give me that laminated brow look. If I just put a little on a spoolie, I can spike my brows straight up and they stay put like that. So if you're looking for something with a little more hold than a traditional brow gel, this one is awesome. And then your number 3 pick for brows was the Essence Brow Like a Boss. I actually have not tried this one yet, so I'd be curious to test it out because a lot of you guys really seem to like it. Next, when it comes to mascara, I actually had a favorite all picked out until this week when I tried 2 new amazing mascaras, and they still count for 2022 even though they just launched. So I'll share what you guys said first. You guys said by far your number 1 favorite mascara was the Maybelline Sky High, and that would have been my number 1 pick too. I've really been enjoying that mascara a lot. It gives so much length, really just that long wispy lash look. I don't feel like it gives a lot of volume, but I generally am going more for length than anything, so I really love that one. I also like how it stays put and it doesn't smudge or flake. Your number 2 mascara was the Milani Highly Rated Anti-Gravity Mascara. I know that one kind of went viral. I tried it when it came out and I remember liking it, but I'm gonna have to go back and use that one again because it really blew up. Everybody just goes crazy for that one. And then in your number 3 position is the LA Colors Biggie Lash Mascara. So I know I talked about that one a lot on my channel. I really enjoy it. It claims to be a tubing formula, and I feel like it is in the sense that it lasts all day and it doesn't smudge or flake. But I did notice that when I go to remove it at night, it doesn't really remove like a traditional tubing mascara would. So it's very similar to the new Tarte tubing mascara in that way. That one also, that one also tends to smudge when I'm removing it, and it doesn't always remove all the way. So I like the effect it gives my lashes, just not as much the removal process. But even though I was going to say the Maybelline Sky High Mascara, I've changed my mind. It is now the Milani Highly Rated Lash Extension Tubing Formula. So I just did a whole video on this, and it's an exact dupe for the Thrive Mascara, down to the ingredient list. I actually compared the two, and the first 9 ingredients are identical, and then the rest of them are just different flower waxes and things, but the main ingredients are the same, and I put these to the test side by side, could not tell the difference. They make my lashes look the same, they last the same, they remove the same. So this is by far my new favorite mascara. I also just did recently try the new Telescopic Lift from L'Oreal, and this one I love as well. I felt like it gave me really huge lashes, but I think the Milani just slightly takes the edge for me because it also gives me a false lash look, but it's a tubing formula, which I love. I just feel like they're so easy to remove. So I do like the new L'Oreal. I would say this one's in my number 2 position. This one would be number 1. Then moving on, when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, your number 1 pick was the same as mine, and that is the Smoke and Roses palette from ColourPop. I know I talked about this one so much on my channel. I just love this. I took it on vacations with me, and even though it's a big palette to have to pack in a suitcase, I just felt like I would have so many different shades to choose from. And I love that you have your basic neutrals in here, but you also have rosy tones, which are personally my favorite shadows to wear. So I just think this is an all-around amazing palette. I got so much use out of it. I'm still using it constantly. So yeah, this is a great staple palette to have in your collection. In the number 2 position for you guys was the ColourPop Not a Box of Chocolates. I actually didn't end up getting that one. I really loved the look of it. I just felt like I have so many neutral palettes. I didn't need it, but I love to hear from you guys if you also have a lot of neutral palettes, but you find that that one kind of stands out or is better. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then in your number 3 position is the Essence Nothing Compares to Nude palette, which is one of those little mini 6 pans. They had launched that one, and also My Rose Will Go On this year for 2022. The rest of the line was, I believe, from 2021. So you all really enjoyed that one, and I think that's a great palette as well. I would say if I had to pick a number 2, number 3, I would have to say probably the Profusion, Ethereal, and Harvest palettes. I also got so much use out of these. I'm wearing the Ethereal one in the video today. I just felt like the formula was fantastic on these. The mattes were really nicely pigmented. They blend beautifully. They also have a mix of metallic shades and cream shadows, and their cream shadows are just beautiful. The one that I'm wearing on my lid, Fluorescence, is one of the creams, and they just really come to life and pop on your eyes. The Harvest one too, I mean, this was a great kind of fall color story, but it also has a lot of beautiful green shades in it, which I happen to love. So I just feel like these were big hidden gems. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about them, but these were great. I always love Profusion's formula, but I just felt like these were even like several steps above what they usually do. And then for lips, your number 1 favorite pick was the Maybelline Superstay Vinyl Ink. I was actually very excited for these when I saw them because they're supposed to be a long-wearing lip product that doesn't dry out your lips. I think the thing that I wasn't crazy about with them is that they're sticky. They basically, because they don't dry out your lips, they also don't dry down, and they kind of just stay very, very sticky and tacky all day. Like as I would talk, sometimes my lips would like kind of stick together, which was annoying. I agree, they definitely don't dry out your lips, but I also felt like they kind of moved around a little bit and they weren't as bulletproof as a lipstick that dries down all the way. I feel like still to this day, nobody has really come up with that perfect lip color that isn't gonna budge, but is also gonna feel super comfortable on your lips, because the very ingredients that make a lipstick feel comfortable or make your lips not dry out are also the ones that are gonna make it smudge or transfer. So I know that a lot of people love the Superstay Vinyl Ink. I don't know, for me personally, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I wasn't a big fan. And then your number 2 pick was the NYX This Is Milky Gloss from the Milkshake collection that they had come out with. And I would say this is probably my number 1 of 2022. I really enjoy this formula a lot. I'm wearing this one today. This is the shade Ube Milkshake, and these are basically a lip gloss type of formula, but they're a high pigment lip gloss, so they're not going to be sheer. They really add a lot of color, and I just love how comfortable these are. Yes, they do wear away over time and they do transfer like most lip glosses do, but these days I'm getting even more fine lines and wrinkles in my lips, and I'm just looking for something that is going to look smooth, and this one definitely does. So I really like these a lot. And then in your number 3 spot was the Milani Fruit Fetish lip oils, and I also really loved those. They come in several different shades. They have really yummy flavors, and they have a giant doe foot applicator. A lot of people compared these to the Dior lip oils. There were a lot of dupe videos that mentioned that. And while I haven't tried the Dior ones because they're always sold out, I feel like they do look very similar. So if you have tried both, I'd love to hear if you think that these are a dupe for those as well. But I just love how hydrating these are. They really give your lips like a very juicy, glossy kind of appearance. And even when they wear away, I still feel like my lips are hydrated for a while afterwards. So anyway, those are all of our favorites that launched in 2022. But if you'd like to see mine and my community's favorite products of the year, just in general, that we've been using recently, I'll go ahead and put this video right here on the screen. It lists all of our favorites in every single category, similar to the way that this video was structured. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Do you agree with my or the community's picks, or did you have some different favorites this year? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.